There you go. Now we're online. I messed that up. We are covering Leadership Education 2, Chapter 1, Lesson 2, Learning to Listen. And so it starts on page 16 in your book. We're going to talk about what's the difference between listening and hearing. What are the different types of listening? What are some bad listening habits? I think we talked about some of those things already, about people not listening to you. They may hear you, but they don't listen. And what are the steps that you can, as leaders, listen to other people and become a better leader? How about this? What is the definition of, what's the difference between listening and hearing? It's part of your vocabulary. Cadet Hoffman.
When you listen, you hear stuff, but you may not listen to it. Like it's, never mind.
Everybody be real quiet here for a second. Real quiet. What do you hear? What do you guys hear?
Sneakers.
You hear the PE class through all the conduits, right? You hear all the PE class having their PE out there. So we hear it. Are we listening to them?
No.
I mean, can we listen to their conversation, who they're talking about or what they're doing this weekend? So we're hearing it. And honestly, that's what a lot of times we do. When I asked the other day, I said, you guys study. You guys study with the TV on or with your sound on. You may be hearing your iPod or your music, but you're not really listening to it because you're studying, you're concentrating here, and you're hearing some stuff on the outside. So what we want to really make sure you know is the difference between hearing and listening and how you're going to do that in a professional environment. Here's some numbers there on the bottom of page 17 that talk about 50 minutes. 50 minutes like a period, a class you have here in class. 50 minutes of a normal type of communication. How much are you listening? How much are you talking? But the 25 minutes, at least half of the time communicating, is auditory. You know, either listening to stuff online, listening to your boss, listening to people you're working with, listening to your coaches, and you guys on teams. That is how a lot of our ability to understand other people is communicated. And so there's a need for better listening, the fact that you can actually discern it. What was the previous lesson about? Anybody remember that? Turn back. What was the previous lesson about?
Communication.
But what was it exactly?
Learning to communicate. Learning to
communicate. So if you're listening, what also are you doing? When you're hearing, we even talked about it yesterday, when you're listening to the candidates for the presidency and you're watching them on TV, you're listening to them, but what else are you doing? You're receiving.
Non-verbal communication.
Yes, you're non-verbal. You're also watching. So it's kind of hard to listen without watching Cadet Van Boeven or without watching Cadet Lovell. I'm watching y'all. You guys are watching me. So when you listen, a lot of times it is non-verbal communication also that ties into the way that you decode the message that's being transmitted to you. What is passive communication? Top of page 18. Passive listening.
You say something out loud to yourself.
Do anybody here ever talk to themselves?
Yeah.
All the time. I have conversations in my head.
Conversations, I think that's quite normal.
I bet sometimes to myself.
It's quite normal. Does anybody ever talk to themselves when they dream?
Yes.
I do.
I ramble.
That's normal. I'm telling you, you guys are absolutely normal. I talk to myself an awful lot. My kids actually, Dad, did you always talk to me? My whole life I've talked to myself. And actually, I tell you what, a lot of times when you're trying to teach yourself something, it's been proven. In the flying community, when I learned how to fly, there was actually something called chair flying, which meant, believe it or not, starting up a plane is not getting in and just turning on a key. It's kind of a complicated flow of dozens and dozens of switches to make sure they're in the correct order in order to turn on a fighter. And so you have to get in a routine. And so to learn it, honestly, in pilot training, I would just sit right here and I would talk to myself. Okay, the step 1 is here, and the switch is here, and I'd make a whole flow of the cockpit, but not only was I physically doing it, but I was talking to myself, and I was kind of actively listening, because it's actually sort of a two-way feedback. Okay, this switch is to here, A to B, program this. Then I'd do it not only audibly, but I'd be listening to myself, and I'd be physically doing it. And I'm telling you, talking to yourself when you're trying to learn something, in many ways, ingrains it in your brain. You know, when you're studying and you have to memorize, I haven't gotten there yet, but when you guys have to memorize our word of the week, and I give you a test on that, you might want to say, gee, what is aesthetic? How do I use that in a sentence? Well, aesthetic is the beauty of something. That's the aesthetic beauty of that picture is really, classical. And that's what you're doing. It's a two-way feedback. Active listening. What about active listening on page 18? What is that?
When you're having a conversation with someone.
So it's a two-way conversation. So somebody gives you feedback. Do anybody ever have a one-way conversation with their parents? My children love it when I say, we need to have a family meeting. No, Dad, we don't want to have a family meeting, because they think they're in trouble. But a two-way conversation is active listening as well as reflective, where the receiver interprets the speaker's feelings. How about if I bring Cadet Malusnik up here, and he starts and does his public speaking, and I'm challenging you to be active listeners. He does his public speaking, and he stops. And then you guys give him some constructive criticism about what you think about him talking. You're actively listening. You're giving a two-way conversation. You're actually interpreting his thoughts and what he's trying to do. That's active listening. We're going to be practicing that probably next week, actually. How about, has anybody ever screwed up and not heard anything? Last night, my wife, I was on the computer trying to plan a trip. And my wife, Susie, comes up and goes, hey, make sure you take the insurance card. You know, each car's got an insurance card. We just update ours. Take the insurance card and put it in your car before you go to school tomorrow. And of course, what did I say?
Okay.
No problem. Sure. No problem. Sure, honey. No problem. What did I do this morning?
Forgot.
Drove off without the insurance card. I'm probably illegal. So I heard her, and I actually responded to her, but then I didn't break my, just like these examples. Failure to listen in class result in poor grades. How many of you guys are going to walk in here tomorrow, and we're going to have the test, and you're going to go, what? A test on Wednesday? What are you talking about? Not that anybody would do that, Cadet Todd. No, I'm not picking on you. Okay. What? We got a test tomorrow? Or when I go, how many of you guys have studied the study guide? Oh, I'm going to do it tonight, sir. Been there for a week and a half. Yeah, that's so I'm just saying, in general, when you fail to listen, it's not probably a good way to be a constructive member of society here. Has anybody here ever failed to hear anything and it hurt them?
Yeah. Like a baseball coming?
Like a baseball? How can I hear a baseball? Cadet Thine, what'd you say?
Well, I was at football practice and I was ready to play and I didn't hear it and my coach yelled at me.
So you didn't hear the correct play.
Well, I heard it, but I didn't pay attention.
Okay, there you go. It's a very good example. Very good example. Yes, sir.
Mine was I was watching TV and my mom told me to sit at the table for dinner. I completely spaced it.
Gee, has that ever happened to anybody? Take out the trash. Oh, sure, Mom. Sure, I'm going to be playing with you. Sure. 30 minutes later, take out the trash. My favorite thing is, how many times does the mom have to ask you to do something before you do something? That's what I give my kids. I'll tell you another thing that happens, guys. In stress, when you go to war and you're fighting and you're under a bunch of stress, what is your first sense to leave you?
Common sense.
No, common sense tries to keep you alive. Actually, I'm not sure about smell. I understand that when you're in a very stressful situation, your smell actually accentuates. But my experience is when somebody's under very, very much stress, say, for instance, you have a plane emergency and you're getting ready to crash, you forget to talk. Your ability to hear turns off, and your ability to talk turns off because you're concentrating so hard to try to save your life that a lot of times people can't hear you. And I've been in situations where I've had my wingmen have emergencies, and I can sit there and see exactly what they're doing, and they're screwing up, and they could kill themselves. And I come on the radio, and I said, hey, 2, you have a problem? Nothing. 2, there's 1, you have a problem? No. And then I have to come and go, Cody, this is Peeps. Wake up, talk to me. Oh, yeah, we have a fire going on.
Oh yeah, we're
So this happens when you have an emergency. A lot of times your ears turn off. And has that ever happened to anybody? Has that ever happened in a car accident or a boat accident or emergency situation? Yes, sir.
Mine was, we were about to crash, and I had to get my little brother back in his seat because he threw his seatbelt off.
Okay.
And she's trying to slam on the brakes, but the brake line went out.
Well, that's not good when your brake line goes out. So again, if you realize that under stress you may not be able to hear stuff or you may not be able to respond, and you see someone doing this, this can help you. This is the importance of listening and working it out. All right, pull up there. Everybody's got their clickers. Let's see if Colonel Peoples dances today. Oh my God, I gotta go out there and practice my dancing with you guys, okay?
What is it?
All righty. Oh, this is a very good one.
Everyone goes wrong. They're all good.
You'll never get all these together.
B. Go with very.
Oh, it's a great, interesting topic, Colonel People. As long as you tell me about you dying, this is really interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I should have you guys dance if you don't get half of them right. How about that?
That's a great idea, sir.
So I'm going to start having my classes dance. If they don't...
56.
Huh?
6 number.
There's no 56? Sorry, go get another one. I tell you, I've been having some problems keeping your names in here. What happens is the system doesn't save your names, so I have to plug them in every day. It's driving me crazy. Oh, that's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Dang it, people.
Ross, at least make sure your grades are on correct. You could be Smith.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
New dance move.
You offer no feedback. What was the one last night? It was Dancing Babies that my daughter showed me. I can't do the Dancing Babies. Do the bird?
Do the Bernie.
Oh, I don't know what the Bernie is. The things I learned from my cadets during the year of teaching them.
This is common. Okay, guys. If someone gets this wrong, I can't see. 95.
You can get great grades.
Give me 95.
Get in trouble.
No. Who's second in trouble? Really? Well, it could happen. Is it you?
No, I had to.
Oh, this one.
Should be.
Oh, this is making me nervous.
No. Someone's gonna get it wrong.
This is making me nervous. Somebody else is scared they're gonna get it wrong. There's 21 kids in here. Somebody didn't click.
47. There's 47.
One person gets it wrong.
Oh! I'm paying you guys. I'm paying you guys. Okay. How many people think here they're good listeners?
What was that, sir?
How many? I tell you what. I like to do this. I do this. It's just my class. Everybody stand up.
You just say
Okay.
Simon says, sir.
Simon says. Quiet. Quiet. I'm gonna whisper something in his ear. We'll see if it comes out of there.
We're gonna play telephone.
Okay. Be quiet. Be quiet all the way around. Let's see what happens. Are we actually listening? Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should turn on some Jimmy Buffett tunes to inspire you guys. Okay. Let's see how intellectually stimulating you are. All right. Hold on. Move it. Go back here. Talk to that level there in the back. Let's cross-pollinate the different, tables, okay? Let's cross-pollinate the tables so that we can actually figure out what's going on. Okay, going the other way.
You forgot about
Okay, so we have two messages going around that are very important. And if you cannot listen and pass this on, then may be the end of the country as we know it.
I'm going to send this one to Gabe.
But are you good listeners? And are you good communicators? Okay. All right, where is the other one? We're coming around here.
I just passed
getting
it
over
on.
here to Cadet McKinney. There's no distractions. It's just you and one other person.
I want one.
Okay, this is.
One.
Can you imagine if this was the defense of America?
It would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
We would never be invaded.
Okay, has everybody heard yours? I don't know. I'm right up here. I'm right up here. We're getting another one coming around here to say. Huh?
Bring it over this.
Because I'm a complicated guy. I'm a complicated guy.
I've got it.
right up.
Okay, Cadet to say. All right, everybody else sit down, please. Okay, look that way. Okay, to Cadet McKinney, so it's to say his answer. Okay, what is it?
You forgot.
Don't look here, don't look here. Cadet to say.
Don't look, don't turn around.
Yeah, don't look here.
Our problem.
Okay, so I said two things. So cadets to say, what did you hear?
I like animals.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. I actually said I like antelopes. Cadet McKinney.
A black bird in the sky.
Louder. What'd you say?
A black bird in the sky or something like that.
A blackbird was in the sky?
Yeah. Or some in
Indy sky? In disguise? All right, give a round of applause. Okay, I start off with the bluebird was shot. Wasn't that what I said? Didn't I tell you about the
Beauty
antelope?
here, I got black.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
that's my guy.
So, thinking about the myths of listening, there's a myth that, it's not my problem. All you guys are perfect, right? You're perfect listeners, no big deal. You can hear it perfectly well. When I was a kid and they were sort of figuring out the psychology of a lot of this stuff, they had an idea that smart people are better listeners. And that listening improves with age. Does listening improve with age? Because, I mean, you guys can't possibly listen. All us old, white-haired people are much better listeners, right? Sure. And so I'm just saying, what about older people in general? Do you think they listen to you?
No.
Do you think your peers listen to you?
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe.
I don't have.
How about this? Does anybody ever have a friend or a family member who interrupts them when they talk?
My sister, yes. My little sister, but it's okay because she's.
So honestly, that is one of the biggest problems I've seen with listening in general is people interrupt. And I'm talking my family, my friends, people I'm with all the time. And when they interrupt, my technique is just to stop talking. And just let them keep talking until they run out of steam. But I'm just telling you, if you think about it, it's kind of hard to train somebody who keeps interrupting all the time. When people interrupt you when you're talking, what does that tell you about how much they appreciate what you're saying?
They don't remember either. They're just not interested.
You know what? People that interrupt you all the time, to me, are just as rude as people who are late. If you're late, I value my time because I'm going to sit there and be late to the meeting, to the class, to the ball game, because you know what? I'm so much more important than you, and you're going to sit there and wait on me. When I interrupt you all the time talking, I don't care about what you have to say. Because what I say is much more important than what you're going to say. I'm going to interrupt you all the time and not listen to you. So think about that, guys. Think about how you communicate at home or in class. I mean, obviously you guys act real respectful here in class because it works out real well. There you go. Bad habit number 3. Right there, interrupting. Does anybody have any friends that try to anticipate what you say? How's that make you feel there, Kevin McKinney?
It's really irritating.
Because half the time they're wrong, right?
Very predictable.
I mean, really, it makes you mad. So anyway, one of the ways you can do it is to mentor and be it. I have a friend from childhood who interrupts me all the time, and when I'm talking to him, I just sit there and go, and eventually they run out of steam. And then once in a while I'll try to tweak him. I go, do you mind if I say something? Oh, no. Why would he say that? Well, maybe I interrupted him. That's kind of bad. I guess that's rude of me. Okay, what about stereotyping? Tell me people who are not good listeners in your mind. Yes?
My dad.
Oh, no, people. All dads? All dads? Who else?
He's a good listener.
Old people?
Little siblings.
Definitely.
Little siblings. Those little siblings don't listen to you, right?
People that can't hear.
You weren't ever like that when you were a little kid, were you? Who else? Who else in your mind does not listen to you?
People that can't hear, sir.
Rocks.
Seriously.
That's no matter.
Seriously. Who else? People that don't like you? That's a good point. People that don't like you may not listen to you. That's definitely good stereotyping. How about paying attention? How do you indicate that you're actually trying to pay attention?
Look someone in the eyes.
Look somebody in the eyes. Maybe a technique that's come out really recently, like last 10 years, has said whenever somebody's talking and, okay, Andrew, I want you to go out and do this project, I want you to do it by then, a correct way to do that now is to say, okay, Colonel Peoples, what I hear you saying is I want you to go out and take the test tomorrow and study the study guide, and you sort of repeat what you think you heard. And that's really not bad, because that kind of then helps you communicate that you've been actively listening. Yes, Mom, I understand you want me to go out and clean the clean the car and you want me to please do it by this afternoon and take everything out and put it in the garage. And if you say those things a second time to your parents or whoever you're working with, then that does help you show them that you're paying attention, you're actively listening. That's clarifying, that's restating, that's paraphrasing. What does the term paraphrasing mean?
Make it smaller.
Paraphrasing? Make it small? No. What else? To say, what does paraphrasing mean?
It's rephrasing it just like slightly different.
Paraphrasing is rephrasing. Oh, that's a good way of saying it. It's a good way of saying it.
Paragraph.
To make sure that you get the right, to get your right meetings. If you actually sit in meetings, guys, which you will, with your jobs, you'll see this happening. You'll see summarizing. You'll see the boss at the end of the meeting goes, okay, today we were supposed to talk about, for instance, the ROTC, having the field day. To summarize what we did here today, we found out that you and you are in charge of the actual event, you're in charge of the food, and you guys back there are in charge of advertising it. And that summarizes the meeting. And that way, you wake up and you go, well, gosh, the boss did hear what I was saying and trying to highlight the main points of the meeting. How about note-taking? You guys ever take notes?
Every day. Every day.
Every day. How come no one takes notes in this class?
I take notes.
I take mental notes.
Doesn't-
Mental notes. We'll see how your test goes tomorrow on those mental notes.
Because most of the things that we learned in class are online, so again, we can just log on to Moodle and then look at the videos again.
Okay. This is an unusual class in that happening. You realize when you get to other classes, the professors won't necessarily have the stuff online like I do. Yes, sir.
Don't they say when you write something down, you learn it better?
Yeah.
That's how I am. If I write stuff down, matter of fact, I don't know if y'all see, but I take notes during a class when I found out wherever we're finished. I mean, I write stuff down. Nowadays, I write it down right here, right? I mean, I'm trying to type in the notepad or somewhere like that. But I'm telling you guys, I think your lack of taking notes will probably hurt you in your life because you don't know how to do it. And you forget stuff. I mean, you positively forget stuff. The whole thing about don't taking every word, there is something called shorthand. It's not taught anymore. But when I was a kid, they taught it. I did not take it. But a shorthand was meaning you actually had a little abbreviations and ways that you could, write down the notes and, with diaphragms. But because a lot of this stuff is online, you don't do that anymore. Here's a question. If you're in a class, let's say a social studies class, and they say, write a paragraph on the battles of Gettysburg, who won the Battle of Gettysburg. But you do not know the answer because you can't remember it, you didn't take notes. Where are you guys going to find it about the battles of Gettysburg?
In the history book.
Okay, but you're lazy and you didn't bring the history book home.
The internet.
So the internet. So you type in the Battle of Gettysburg results, and you get Wiki, right? Wikipedia or something. Here's the question. If you copy that out of Wikipedia and you write it down on your paper, is that plagiarism?
Yes,
So,
sir.
sir, if you get them,
If you cite it.
I'm asking you, is it plagiarism?
Or you word it in your...
What is the consequences of plagiarism in high school?
You could be expelled.
a C.
It's called zero. And yes, you can be expelled. So my point is, if you guys are not taking notes and you go copy paste from the internet, that's a significant issue. That's showing the teacher that not only you're lazy, you're not taking notes, and oh, by the way, you're not even reading the book, and you want to copy paste off the internet. That's not. Your generation needs to learn to be a little more professional than that. Yes, sir.
But if you do that, you can actually, you just write it in your own wording, so it...
If you write in your own words, you're writing your own words. You're not copying it, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, that's what note taking is all about. Writing stuff in your own words so that you know what's going on. All righty, let's click. pretty funny to see you. You're pointing it right at me versus telling me. I have all these kids pointing these things at, well, I'm going to zap you with the secret death ray from back there. Cadet Smith is going to zap me with a death ray. I think I need to change this around somehow.
Yes, sir.
Oh my
No one wants Colonel Peoples to dance today. Nobody wants Colonel Peoples to dance. What was the thing I saw that Cassidy showed me last night? It was a girl that was dancing and clapping. What was the name
Cup
of it?
song.
Cub?
Cup. Is there a cup involved?
No. It was pretty freaky, actually. But it did make you laugh, which is the whole purpose, right?
Working?
Huh? Was it working? No.
No, he said twerking.
You got
One person.
it. Okay, guys, tell me. Ooh, let's play. Pick it. Hoffman. Tell me what's a proper way to take notes.
By listening and copying them, like you can paraphrase them instead of writing word for word and take notes.
Big word, paraphrasing, good. And then, that's great, I love it. And then, here's the question. Do you copy down every word?
No, you paraphrase it, sir.
So that you can reference it. And you know what, guys? I would generally only take notes of things I don't know, right? If I know who won the Battle of Gettysburg, why should I write that down? Unless the teacher told you something different, right? Unless the teacher told you something different.
So you get that right.
Exactly. Give me an Air 5.
You dance.
How about, can I dance?
That's 100%.
How about Cadet Knight? How do we take notes? What's another way of taking notes?
Pretty much like what you just said, just write down what you don't know, and then what you do know, just keep it in your head and still remember it. The things you write down, you need to study later on for the test and everything.
If you don't know and you go copy paste it from Wikipedia, is that taking notes?
No,
Will that get you in trouble in a professional situation?
yes, sir.
It's good to reference Wikipedia when you're arguing with your brother over something, over a baseball figure or a basketball statistic, right? That's good, but probably not in a professional situation. Okay, guys, that ends lessons 2 here today. We can talk about hearing, we talked about listening, failure to listening, myths, and how to improve your listening. Lesson